Hey, and welcome back to the Local 636 podcast. I'm your host, Ed Akers. This week, we have a very special sponsored episode where I interview Brandon McNamee at PJ's Coffee in O'Fallon. The owners of PJ's, John and Jennifer Whitehead, also join me. We're going to eat some beignets. This is a really fun episode to do. It was our first on-location episode, and this is something that we can do for your business as well. If you're looking to promote your business, your storefront, it's a really great way, as you'll see, to kind of get a real-time glimpse of what's going on in your location. And it's just super fun to do. Everyone in there was kind of stopping by, asking what was going on. So it definitely brought a little bit of atmosphere there. Not that there wasn't already, but just a super fun thing for us to do. Love doing stuff in the studio here, and we have a great studio. But being able to get out and meet people where they are was awesome. So if you like the way this looks, if you want to make this happen for your business, get in touch with us. Hello at local636.com. Again, my guest Brandon McNamee this week is responsible for several Facebook groups. The most prominent, the most notable is, of course, The End Is Near, so Let's Drink Beer. Brandon also a realtor, and we have a lot in common, and we hang out, so that's a fun time. Again, John and Jennifer Whitehead are going to join us to kind of give us an update on where PJ's is and how they've been doing since they opened. We're going to break Brandon McNamee's diet with some nice beignets, and we just have a great time. So thanks for watching and enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome into the Local 636 podcast. We are live. We're not live. We're recording live at PJ's Coffee in O'Fallon. The brand new PJ's were about a month old, so we wanted to get in here and kind of show you what was going on. There's been a lot of hype about this place opening, and we wanted to just kind of give you a view of what was going on. We're going to do some fun stuff with our guest today, Brandon McNamee. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you doing, man?
Good. We're going to eat some beignets later. We're going to have a little beignet eating contest. But Brandon McNamee, you are a man of many hats. You wore your Travis Matthews hat today, but just flaunting that hat.
Thank you. Yeah. It'll be dirty, but I got it 2 days ago. It's white. It'll be tore up.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But Brandon is a realtor. You're an entrepreneur. You are a podcaster.
Yeah.
You're a public figure. Would you say that?
I don't know what that means when people say that.
Being a public figure?
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I would just say okay.
Okay, sure.
I don't know.
How many followers on the page? And we'll talk about that a little more in detail. But
I have 11 pages total, so between all those, a couple hundred thousand.
What page I'm talking about?
Oh, that one about 120,000.
120,000.
Yeah.
Here's how I would say you know when you're a public figure. When I'm waiting for you at a bar because you're about to meet me there, and I had some swag for The End Is Near, I think. And someone was like, "Oh, were you in that group?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "I'm actually meeting Brandon up here in a few minutes." And they were like, "Oh, you're gonna meet?
That's so silly.
Brandon's gonna be here?
That's ridiculous."
And I was like, "Yeah, Brandon's gonna be here." They got pictures with you. I mean, they just were head over heels. So I would say that makes you.
I'd say I usually like to apologize because I'm actually, whenever I meet them, I'm not as interesting as they probably think I am. So anybody who gets excited to meet me, just know that I am not that interesting. Thank you, though.
It's a lot easier to be interesting on Facebook, behind a phone, typing stuff in 30-second increments.
Totally. Yeah, you can plan out your how you're going to come off, pretty easily. Yeah, and then.
So let's bring everyone up to speed as to what we're talking about. So you're a realtor. That's your job.
Yes.
It's your full-time gig. That's your kind of bread
and butter.
I
own Mac Realty Group, the brokerage.
But Brandon also run The End Is Near, so Let's Drink Beer Facebook page.
Yes.
You mentioned 10 other Facebook pages. I don't know.
So just a bunch of pages, bunch of community involvement, basically, like kind of same stuff you do. Just getting a bunch of people together and letting them share what they're doing with each other, their thoughts, their memes, their fun stuff. So yeah, that's all.
So I think what people are probably most interested in is The End Is Near page, right?
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the one that I branched all the other ones off of.
So fill me in. I know this started when COVID started.
Yeah.
If you
April
don't remember
4th.
what COVID was, national pandemic, March of 2020.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
I don't know if anyone out there missed that.
Oh yeah, that was that whole virus.
Well, when we play this 20 years later, right? When our We won't have grandkids by then, but you know,
dude, I got a 12-year-old. I might.
Yeah, you might.
I might. Yeah. It's
20
likely.
years later, when they're watching this, the pandemic was this thing that happened, and you know,
Yeah,
we're over it now.
Yeah.
But tell me about that. Tell me about starting that. Like, why? Like, just tell me about the inception of it.
Well, so honestly, man, I've always struggled myself with. So I've depression and anxiety, and isolation is one thing that I just knew wasn't going to work for me. Right off the bat, when they said you can't hang out with more than a couple people at a time or it's illegal, I think it was 10 people.
Yeah, it was some arbitrary.
It's like illegal to hang out.
Yeah.
Once they said that, I was like, all right, we got to figure something out here, man, because you're not going to sit in this house and stew and just lose your mind. So I just wanted to make a little Facebook group where we could come to. I was like, hey, I like drinking beer. I like drinking beer with my friends. I can't do that now, but I can do it on the internet. So we just pretty much, I put it together. I invited some people. I expected probably 100, 200 people to join.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you have expectations?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. No.
I think that's key in doing anything, right? Like low expectation management, and not necessarily going in thinking it's going to fail, but just not thinking like, oh, there's going to be 100,000.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right to set realistic goals if you're going to, you know. But I wasn't doing this as a business or any type of anything. I was doing it as a dude that just wanted to drink virtual beers online and just hop on a couple, you know, group live chats and chug some beers together and post a video of what you're doing, toasting to each other. 100 or 200 people I expected. And
how quickly did you get those 200 people?
So I invited a bunch of my friends on Facebook, put the phone down. I put the phone down. I come back a couple hours later, there's 3,000 people in there.
A couple hours later, there were 3,000 people?
Yeah, I mean, like 2 hours. Like 2 hours tops.
So
and then
friends
maybe 3
hours. Friends and
spread like wildfire. So then I went to bed, woke up the next day, there was about 15, 20,000. And then 2 weeks later, 50,000 people.
50?
Yeah.
That's a lot quicker than I knew. It grew quick, but that's a lot quicker than I thought.
Yeah, about a month in. And once I hit about 50,000, I was like, all right, I'm going to harness this. I'm going to slow the growth. I'm going to control the growth. Like I knew it's like having an audience is a responsibility. You know what I mean? At that point, I was like, all right, this is bigger than what I thought it was going to be. What can we do with this? What kind of cool stuff can we do with this? So I'm like, all right, let's see what we can do. So I took it as a responsibility instead of a goofy little place to just chug beer.
So I have so many questions because it's so fascinating to me. You know, people try to grow stuff and do stuff, and here you are, literally overnight with 3,000.
Yeah.
members.
No, I don't. I can't blame it on anything except right time, right idea, and luck.
So let's talk about that, because I think that's definitely part of it. But like, I also think people were desperate for connection at that point.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously they were, right?
I agree.
I mean, I think, yeah, the timing is part of it, but I mean, that's you saw that timing and said this is the time for it. So it wasn't just like it timed
honestly,
up. But, I mean,
sorry to cut you off. It was the time for me. Like I needed something for me.
Yeah.
I wanted like some friends to hang out with on the internet. It had no other motivation or drive or any type of plan at all behind it. It was just straight up, I'm bored as hell. I'm not going to do well by myself sitting here bored.
Yeah.
Let's do some beer drinking on the internet. That was it.
Do you think there's anything to that, like it being for you? Like we talked about managing expectations, it being just for you. Maybe that's part of the reason too, right? I mean, there's all these things that go into why it was and is successful. But
it has become a lot less for me over the past couple of years. My intention in the beginning was for me to have, I was like, I'm bored. I want to have some fun with people.
Yeah.
So that there was a selfish factor there. But then once I took it on as a responsibility, it became a lot of work. No kidding. Like a lot of work. Like it's a lot, but it's also not something I can just shut off, because a lot of people have told me they rely on it for, their own mental health, and they get to connect with people that they otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and you've had, and by the way, be yourself. We don't need the cuss count. It's okay.
It's not over like I don't know what to say.
It's a family place.
there's
kids
like
here,
9 kids behind me.
I don't think they can hear us, so it's not a big deal.
Good.
But you've had people meet, fall in love, get married that have met.
I officiated their wedding.
You officiated
one
their
of the
wedding.
people. Yeah, Katie and Chris. He lived in California. She lived in Illinois, and they ended up just bouncing back and forth, visiting each other. Then he moved out here, and I officiated their wedding. It was awesome.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
What other stories like that do you have from the page where?
One of the agents on my team, Lindsay Castle and Corey Casey, they met on the page. They just had a baby.
Okay.
So they met on the little baby's got a little onesie that says like "brood" in the end is near or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Like, yeah, and she always says, "This page got me pregnant." Like that's her. But they're totally in love. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and the baby's adorable. And it's just a lot of cool stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, there's just endless. I could just go on and on. There's a ton. It's cool. It's like a butterfly effect, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you're not thinking that when you started. Like you said, you started it just for you.
Uh-huh.
When did you know, you mentioned the numbers at like 3,000 people, at 50,000 people. When did you know, like, okay, this is a thing that I have to like be in charge of and do? Was that the 50,000 number? Was that?
Yeah, I think it was kind of more like 25,000 or so.
Okay.
I realized, okay, this is you're being blessed right now with an audience, and you can either totally fuck it up, or you can harness something and make some cool shit happen out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just was like, all right, what can we do? First thing we did was we sold a bunch of merchandise, donated back to out of work bartenders and servers, because they were completely. What the hell were they supposed to do? They were like, restaurants are closed. And then we started doing some small. Well, they weren't small at all, but quick little Sunday fun days at local bars and restaurants that.
Just like group meetups, like, hey, we're all going to be up here.
First one we did was at Barrel's Tap House right down the road from here.
Yeah.
And we packed the joint on a Sunday for 12 hours straight.
Yeah.
And it was a blast. People still talk about it, share photos of it. And we did that. We did another one at Redbirds in St. Peter. We just bounced all around.
Yeah.
Bounced all around.
And this is during the...
This is summer of 2020.
So essentially, we're in St. Charles County, so not, was the pandemic a thing? I don't know. But essentially it was tailing off to where stuff was starting to open. But,
Right.
I mean, you still had a lot of people that weren't going out.
Yeah.
Restaurants weren't full staffed. So I'm sure that meant a huge amount to them to...
And it meant a lot to us, too, for them to, risk the exposure. Because at that time, people, when they saw, like, you and me out without masks on, they'd be like, oh, that guy's reckless.
Yeah.
Look at those idiots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they took a risk letting us have those big-ass parties,
That's
too.
fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It was, we're appreciative to them as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
so end is near, 120,000 followers, you said?
120,000 members, yeah.
120,000 members, followers, right. I also want to talk about, I think you can talk about this, the Natty Light deal. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't know is that still a thing?
What's that? The
So at one
sponsorship
point
that
you
I
were
got from them?
sponsored by...
Oh, that was a while ago. Yeah. That was a year thing. And
Okay.
that's been about a year and a half since that.
How did that come about? I mean, was it just like, that's your favorite beer, right? That's well documented that Natty Light is your favorite beer.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so for years before I even started this group, I did beer reviews, right?
Okay.
And I started that Natty King public figure page in like 2018.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It only had like maybe 2,000 likes, followers or whatever on it at the time. And now it's, 35,000 or so. I don't know. But it was the Natty King because it was known that I like Natty. I would harass Natural Light on their social medias,
Okay.
all that. And
What do you, like fun, like poking fun at them?
yeah,
asking for stuff?
No, yeah,
like,
just like, hey, give me a sponsorship. Hook me up with something. You know, hey, I drinking their beer all the time. Like I'm doing beer reviews. I'm documenting. I'm getting exposure and all that shit. So then when the group started, I know that some people from AB are in the group, obviously. And we had our first charity event was for the Huddleston family. Rest in peace, Tony. It was for the Huddleston family, and we did it at Babylon. We did a huge barbecue cook-off. It was fucking nuts. I mean, thousands of people were there.
Yeah.
We filled the parking lot with barbecue pits. We did a wing cook-off. We did ribs, all that. And Natural Light got wind that we were doing it and messaged me and said, hey, dude, we know what you're doing for Tony. We want to help out. So here's what we're giving you. They dropped off at Babylon on Mid-Rivers. They dropped off 50 30-packs. 50 30-packs.
Wow.
They dropped off a whole bunch of blow-up tent things like pop-up tents.
Yeah.
I mean, they thousands of dollars, neon signs to give away, thousands of dollars worth of stuff. They're just like, hey, we hope it helps. They just had Cry drop it off and took off.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Okay.
Like, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, I got a thing in the mail. You've been selected for a sponsorship, which several other people across the country were too.
Sure.
Just, send you some merch and stuff like that. Nothing crazy.
And then you just have to post so many
just
times
post
about
yourself
it
wearing it here
it.
and there. Yeah, nothing.
Is it
nothing
normal
intense.
to not get that renewed? Is it normal for it to
I don't
just be a
know.
one-year
I don't
deal?
know. It was for, I think, a year.
You
and
probably
then
said
it was
fuck too many times.
Huh?
You probably said fuck too many times.
You just said it twice. Jesus.
You made me. You tricked me into the second
you
one.
just gave me 2. I get 2 more now. God. But yeah, that's it, man. It's a huge group of people that comes together whenever you ask them to. You don't even have to say shit. They just do it. Like, I don't take any responsibility for any of the cool. Like, the group has raised almost $2 million in a couple of years.
Yeah.
For sick kids, grieving parents, waitresses and servers, bartenders that have been out of work. And I take zero credit for any of that because it's literally just like, all I got to do, this community is so cool. All I got to do is say, hey guys, this is what we're donating to today. And they're like, here's our wallets. Every time. This kid just walked. I said it right when the kid was. The kid's right.
They're never coming
like,
back to PJs. Sorry, John.
Sorry.
No, that is awesome. And I find, I just think it's so cool that you have the power to move that many people to do whatever. And they are so giving, man. You let us help you with your beer rollout. We did the merch.
With what? Sorry?
The beer.
Yeah.
Beer
You did the
rollout.
merch for our and for our beer launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
did you say that? He's like, wow, this guy's
loud
a
in
fucking
here.
idiot.
They were so cool. I mean, they were so happy to come up and talk to us. We were still pretty new. Local 636 was still pretty
You were
new at
like
that point.
a couple months.
Yeah. We didn't have much merch. We had your stuff. We had some of our stuff. But people just wanted to support us.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see that. And, I mean, people have gone on your page, and some people have unfollowed because there is some stuff that maybe is not for everyone on there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's true. And you can say whatever you want, and that's whatever. But at the end of the day, exactly what you said, man. If you're like, hey, we need to raise money for this, they are there.
Yeah.
Every time again. Do you want to sponsor the podcast? There's tons of opportunities. We can put your name anywhere. We can put it here or there or there or even there. We can put it on the microphone. Maybe. Can we do that? Hit me up. hello@local636.com or anywhere on the socials, or Angel at Let's Groove Studio. But yes, you can sponsor the podcast. You can sponsor an episode. You can sponsor the season. You can come be a guest if you want to promote your company. All kinds of opportunities and price points. So if that's something you are wanting to do, get in touch with us. We're joined now by John. How do you introduce yourself? Half of the ownership, an owner?
Yeah, husband-wife
You and your
combo,
wife own
family-owned business. The
Family
hope
owned.
is that the kids own it one day, right?
Absolutely.
So we're right there.
Hi, Jen.
See, now the whole
Hi,
crew's
guys.
here.
All right, so it's been, this is going to air a little bit later, but it's been about a month since you opened.
Yeah.
Tell me what that's been like. I mean, expectations versus like what reality, like what has happened. Tell me about that.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if we even had an expectation of what it was going to be like, right? Like, we had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
What I will say is that I think our expectations are far beyond what we thought it was with what actually happened. I mean, we've had such a great response. We've had already people who keep coming back, and we know their names and we know their orders, and
That's
it's
cool.
such a great feeling.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a lot of hard work, of course, but it's still fun every single day, and I think that is the most important part.
And I think the biggest thing for us, too, is, I mean, you should kind of allude to it, the community responded. I think that was been the best, I wouldn't say surprise. We knew O'Fallon showed up, and we knew, I mean, Cottleville, St. Charles County, everybody, they showed up in such a big way, but it was overwhelming with just the support, like genuine support, I guess, at the end of the day that we've received and things like that too. And I think, it kind of took us back a little bit to go, wow, you know what, we set out to do something, and the fact that it is reaching this many people and we are seeing those friendly faces that we're getting to know and everything too, it means the world to us.
Get them.
Now, Jen, we'll leave you out of this question for obvious reasons. But how much weight have you gained, John, since the open?
12 pounds.
Jen's
straight
lost,
to the hips.
Jen has lost weight.
Jen's lost weight.
Jen's lost weight. Let's be clear about that.
Jen's lost weight. I've gained, and I was just saying earlier, not only are the beignets, the sandwiches, which, by the way, people, it's not going to just make you gain weight when you try it, but I just choose to drink espresso over water, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of having, hey, I'll have some water, I'll have something, I'm like, I'll just have another coffee for the day.
Is espresso unhealthy? Isn't it just caffeine?
No, but when you drink it as water, that's...
Yeah, I guess in massive amounts.
I think you start adding whipped cream on it and stuff, right? And that's where you get...
I mean, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it, right?
The water is in the ice whenever
Perfect.
it melts.
See?
So that totally counts.
There you go. Keep that mentality.
Now, I was here for your soft open, packed, line out the door. Your ribbon cutting, packed. I mean, couldn't move.
Yep.
It's been awesome. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, it looks like you guys are doing everything right. Tell me about something that you didn't plan for that's happened, good or bad. Just as a business owner, as like having a space and having to deal with the public, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, maybe inventory, you're given numbers that are set and you're supposed to stay at those numbers for all of your inventory. And, when one day, everything's going great and then the next day people buy you out, it's like, how on earth do you even manage that inventory? And not to mention just the volume that we've seen. And it's so great. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? But we're working on it, trying to figure out where that sweet spot is to where, we have enough, keep things rotated and fresh and everything. So honestly, it's been inventory, just making sure we have enough to give people what they want.
I'm trying to see which days are your heavy days, which days aren't
Yeah,
as
you'll
busy.
be able to forecast eventually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to that point, we opened right before Christmas, right? So people were off. You had the holiday. It's like, okay, what's what exactly? And, I think the biggest thing, and Ed, to your point about it being so busy in the beginning, was that those first couple days, that first 2 weeks, I mean, fortunately, we had lines out the door, and it was very, very busy. And then now it's starting to kind of level off a little bit, right? So it's one of those to where, okay, we're finally kind of getting an idea of, okay, this is what a normal day looks like, this is what a normal week looks like, which, to Brandon and Jen's point, now we're able to start to forecast a little bit better and everything like that too. So it's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even consider it a problem. It's just an adjustment to what we're seeing.
Sure. Talk about staffing a little bit. I know now that's got to be one of the toughest things. You see it everywhere. You see people that are hiring, people offering bonuses, people, just doing crazy things because they can't get people, they can't keep people. Your staff here, it's been the same people every day that I've been in here. It's been the same set of people. They're always smiling. They're always happy. They know what they're doing. Like, it's never been like, oh, I don't know how to do that, or let me see if we have that. It's always been just fast, accurate, with a smile. Like, tell me about that, because that's not an accident.
It's not, but at the same time, I don't know if it has much to do with us. I mean, the people that we have on are amazing.
I would beg to differ with you.
They work hard, and we try to give them that motivation every day. And I gotta say, for John and I, the biggest compliment that we consistently receive on, if it's a review or in person or in passing, it's that your guys' team is so friendly and they're always smiling. We've had somebody tell us that I thought this girl had been working, just got on shift, and he's like, I found out she was working for 6 hours already, and she was so happy.
Yeah.
Time seems to go by fast whenever, they're here, and they love it. And for us, that is the best compliment, to know that they still want to work hard when they're here, to know that even though they might put in a long hours, that they're still happy and they're still giving the customers exactly what they want and what they need, and they're giving them the best experience that they know how. We've honestly been blessed with the best team we could ever possibly imagine.
Well, and you have, for sure, and the people are great, but I would say that they have that attitude and the enthusiasm, and they feel like they just started their shift when they're 6 hours in because of y'all. Like, you guys are obviously good people. Everyone that comes in here that tells me, like, people feel the need to report to me when they come in here. I don't know why. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I always get pictures. Just try PJs. Everyone that said they've met you is like just the nicest people. Like, John and Jen are just the nicest people. So, I mean, yes, it takes a certain kind of person to like work in this environment, but I think just the way that you guys are, the way you treat people, the way you talk to people, just makes that easier, right? To have good staff. So you can pat yourself on the back a little bit.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think, one thing we promised them, it was, hey, you know what, we're different. We're going to be different from a culture standpoint. We're going to be different from, again, not saying anything bad. It's just one of those things like we're not going to ask you to do anything that we're not going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to mopping floors or making the drinks or whatever the case is, right? So it's one thing for us that we know we're only as good as our team. And for us, again, it's a culture thing. To put it bluntly, I don't want to keep looking for more people because we're losing people. If anything, I want to add people, right? And we've been, like I said, and Jen had mentioned, we're very blessed to have the team that we do. They're all very, very happy. And again, it's one of those things that, it's one thing if they tell us, but stuff they're communicating, right, to not only their families, but to the public as well. It makes us feel pretty good. But I mean, again, it's one of those things where I think, again, they played a big part in the culture, and, it's something that to us that's very important.
Cool. Well, this is a great space. I'm glad we got to showcase it a little. We did the first podcast in the studio, and that was fun, but it's cool to be in here and do this and eat the beignets and do the thing. So you got anything you want to add or promote, talk about?
I mean, so King Cake season's going to be wrapping up on the 21st after Mardi Gras.
What season?
King Cake.
Say that again.
This kid's never had king cakes
Hold
either.
on.
We need to get a plate
Can we
full
go grab
of
a king cake?
Oh, king cake, like on the wall.
Yeah.
Like over there.
Yeah, so they're delectable.
Have you never had a king cake? We need
never
to
even
talk
heard of
about
one
New
till just
Orleans. We need to talk about New Orleans. Can we get Brandon a piece of a king cake?
No.
Will you try? I'll eat it with you.
I mean, if you're going to eat a beignet, you might as
No,
well
I've had
just keep
4
going and
beignets.
eat the
Might as
king cake,
well.
right?
Just get a little slice.
All right.
We'll just get a little slice.
Goodness.
So we need to talk.
So there's traditional and there's cream cheese. We are sold out of the cream cheese.
The cream cheese is the best.
Flew off the shelves.
Yeah.
In fact, Linda Stevenson called and was like, can you get any? Because I can't get any.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get some more in, but we have a lot of traditional for sure.
Here we go. Let's get Brandon to dig into this. Meanwhile, I'm going to berate him about his New Orleans experience here. So,
Oh my gosh, I went to New Orleans.
Brandon went to New Orleans, and
you.
I think I actually unfollowed you. And now I've since refollowed you,
I
but
appreciate that.
I think that trip, all you were doing was complaining about New Orleans, and you probably
is
went
this?
to the.
It's fantasticness.
Is there cinnamon in there?
Yeah, it's a cinnamon vanilla.
Would you take like a girl
Those are the
bite?
flavors
Come
you're
on,
going to
let's
get.
Cinnamon vanilla.
But they are straight from New Orleans, so we've had a lot of New Orleans people up here, and they swamped us on our first few days to buy up these cakes. Gambino's being very
it.
popular down there.
This is gonna
Full
fuck my day
disclosure,
up.
you could get a piece that has a baby in it.
A baby in it.
Yes.
What do you mean?
So there's a lucky rabbit's foot.
There's
So
a
it's a long-standing New Orleans tradition. You'll find them in all the king cakes. There is a little baby that is baked inside. If you
By
find
baby,
it,
what do you mean?
like
a plastic
It's
like
like a
baby
little
like that.
golden baby
Yeah.
inside. One of those pieces in that cake has like a little golden baby.
New Orleans is fucking weird. It is so weird. It is
But
so
it
weird.
means that you'll have
I don't
good luck
see
and prosperity for the
Nope.
year. So,
Oh, no
I mean,
baby.
What also means you have to buy the cake. You have to bring the cake to the party the next year. Correct.
Yeah, everybody's got their own weird tradition for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people do make, if you find it, you bring the cake to the
do
party
you want
next
that?
year.
I'll find that.
But yeah, we've had several people come in.
We had one lady buy 6.
We did have one lady buy 6 cakes.
6 whole cakes.
6 whole cakes.
Not
Yeah.
slices, cakes. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, they're good.
Caramel and vanilla, you cannot go wrong.
And then they said they're out of the cream cheese, but a lot of times it'll have like cream cheese and strawberry, raspberry lace through.
Oh, here.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Before I,
King cake.
I walk out
I
with
don't
that.
think this is going to air before king cake season, but
when is
it'll be
king
evergreen.
cake season over?
So Mardi Gras is on the 21st.
21st.
Right?
It ends on the 21st.
Yeah,
and
sorry,
then, so there's a couple things. Well, there's Taste of Tables for the O'Fallon Chamber that we're going to be at, too. We're going to have, hopefully we have a couple left, or maybe hopefully we don't. But if we have a couple left, we're going to showcase it there at the Taste of Tables and everything as well. And
Awesome.
We actually have, so Tim Ezell from Channel 2. I mean, you're all around my age. You should know. Some of these kids are like, who's Tim Ezell, right?
Yeah.
But he popped in the
Tim
other day,
Ezell.
and he's like, hey, can we set up? And he's like, do you have king cakes? We're like, yeah. He goes, do you mind if I pop in and just talk about it for a little bit? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty neat.
It's another that you guys have received a good amount of like media attention, not just social media, but coverage on the news and people posting stuff has been good. I mean, all this stuff is very photogenic. Is that the right word for
Dude,
food?
I
It's
don't know.
Instagrammable.
It's awesome.
It all looks good.
It's really good. Yeah.
it all looks
I
good
don't
on.
say that lightly. I would honestly be polite. People know this about me. I would just be polite and be like, yes, thank you. That was good. But that's delicious. I will never, that's just how I am. I'm very picky on food and shit, but
Yes, that was
this
good. Thank
is
you. You turned into just-
awesome. Yeah, I would have just been like, thank you. Yeah, I like it. And I would have moved on and never brought it back up. But that's even down to the coffee over here, which I don't ever really drink.
All right, you got a new loyal customer here.
Hey,
So.
I mean, we're happy to hear it. We've had a lot of people, they're like, oh, I've been to Cafe Du Monde, and, I stood in line for hours, and your guys' beignets are still better. And now, I mean,
There
that's
you
just
go.
not me patting myself on the back here, but we've never been, so I can't, testify to the comparison. But, we've had some true Louisianans up here telling us that. So
what do you make those in the back? Like,
yep, they're fried, fresh to order. So that's why if there is
it was
a wait,
hot and
Yes.
flaky.
yes.
Ugh, hot and
We
flaky,
had,
baby.
Flaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like a
Ed,
mama.
to your point about challenges from earlier, it's not a challenge. It's a great problem to have. But I had just left for the morning, and we had an order of 12 come in, and then a mobile order of 24, and then another gentleman came in and ordered 48.
Wow.
And
48 what?
beignets.
Beignets?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they take three minutes per batch to make, right? So it's one of those.
And a batch is 3.
and a batch is 6.
Batch is 6.
So dude was here for, how long does it take to do 6 of them?
3 minutes.
Yeah, so he was here a while.
So it's one of those where,
Wow.
You're like, here's a newspaper.
again, to the community and stuff like that, it's one of those, and we appreciate everybody's patience with it. It's not hey, we're slow, or hey, they don't know what they're doing or anything like that. But it's also one of those where we want to be fast. You can get coffee anywhere. You can go to Quick Trip, you can get a coffee, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those. It's very important to us to have the speed of service, especially for that. But we really appreciate everybody's especially understanding to go, okay, if I want beignets, I want them done right. And the fact that they're willing to wait, and the fact that they know it's fresh and everything
Yeah.
too, I think that's been very nice, rather than just saying, hey, you're McDonald's, where's it at, right?
Yeah.
Because we could easily come in at 5 o'clock and just start, making them immediately and have them sitting there, but that's not what we want, because quality changes pretty quickly, and so
Especially when it hits the powdered sugar.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and you can tell. I mean, they're still good, but I mean, when you first bring them out, and it is that
Dude, they're
hot,
just like,
flaky.
the flakiness on the inside. Like, I don't know how to describe that.
So, gosh, we got rudely interrupted by these delicious, hot, flaky.
Beignets.
What do you call them? Beignets. We were talking about your following, and we were talking about just kind of the cool stuff you've been able to do, and that is, if anyone knows you, you can tell that is like inherent to you. Like it's natural to you to want to help people, to want to use that group, use that power, if you want to call it that, for good, right? You could easily use that power for evil. I mean, you have that choice. I don't know what evil means,
that's
but
kind of why I shift back to it's a responsibility.
Yeah.
Either take it seriously or you let it all go to hell.
yeah. So, go ahead. You
But
say
no,
more.
yeah, it's not. And again, like I said, I don't like taking credit for all the cool shit that they do, because it really is a group. It is the people that come together. It's the people that are in that community. It is the coolest community and the most giving community of people I've ever had the pleasure to know. And I'm honored to, quote unquote, lead them. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, and you do, and like, it's nice of you to say and humble, but I mean, you're a servant leader, right? Like, you're a humble, I'll go first kind of leader. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure, you'll
Yeah.
take it.
I'll
Okay. Well, so let's talk about then.
I appreciate you. I'm not good at receiving
Sure.
compliments. I
None
guess
of
you
us
would say.
are. The people that are, that's
But
weird.
thank you.
Yeah. But let's talk about your podcast, which is called
Yeah. Street Smart Mental Health.
Street Smart Mental Health. Brought
Yeah.
to you by
The Natty King, me, and Michael Wellington, my
Beef.
partner. You know him.
I don't know him. But Beef Wellington, right? So
Yeah.
that's where the beef comes from.
Yep.
And so you guys you both talk on that? You
Yeah,
co-host
co-host,
it?
yeah.
And do you have a guest on every time, or do you just talk to each other?
Well, we did a couple of them, just us two, to talk about our personal experiences with mental health, depression, anxiety, bipolar, which he was diagnosed with. And then we have certain guests on. We had a few on that. We had a couple veterans on PTSD. We had a couple parents of children with autism. We had we've just had a whole bunch of different guests on that are going through their own things, and we don't know we're not doctors, we're not professionals, any of that shit. We just a couple of dudes that just have been through it and are willing to talk and just put it out there to everybody, and if it relates with somebody, they take something out of it, fucking awesome.
Yeah. I think that's really needed because, our generation is trying to break this stigma of mental health down, of being like, we don't need help, right? I think it's our generation that is ushering this in, which is a great thing. But I think it's great because not everybody wants to go to a doctor or wants to go to a therapist or is comfortable enough to sign themselves up to go and talk to someone they don't know.
Well, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's an easier in to flip on your podcast, and maybe
you don't think it's that important to complain about either.
It's what?
No, you don't think it's that important to complain about either.
Yeah. Maybe I don't have it that bad compared to this person, or what I'm going through is.
Also, the problem is actually getting a doctor's appointment is months, and all they're going to do is, and I'm not saying don't. I definitely encourage reaching out to a doctor because I'm not one. And I'm not discouraging anybody, but they're going to just basically they're going to open up their book and tell you to take this pill. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's cool to just be able to talk and be like, wow, that person, I feel that way. Wow, okay. Or even just knowing, shit, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Everybody else has this, and a lot of people have this same issue. Okay. I feel better.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like the doctor, the therapist may not have been through that situation.
Well, they went to school for it, and that's I'll never discredit that. They went to school for it. And I'm not any doctors out there. I'm not saying you're not qualified because you're probably very qualified. But there is a different sense that comes from actually living it your whole life, and not going to school to learn about how these people feel, but actually knowing from experience how these people feel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like I said, we're not doctors. We are not professionals. A couple of dudes that are just willing to talk about everything.
Well, that's cool. Have you gotten anything? Has that been like cathartic or therapeutic for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a selfless act.
Yeah.
When I get on there and I get to bounce shit off of the guests and I get to hear what they're feeling. It's literally, it feels like I'm going into my own therapy session every time we do a podcast. So yeah, it's definitely very helpful.
Very cool. And that can be checked out on Apple, Spotify, those platforms.
Yep, you can find it on my Facebook too, and his Near Let's Drink Beer group too, all those places. But yeah, Street Smart Mental Health Podcast. If you want to check it out. Why don't you look
in there and get real awkward with it?
What?
Just get real awkward with it.
Oh, is that on me? That's on
you. Yep.
That's recording.
Once you throw some powdered sugar on your face and
just over the lip, dribble it off the chin.
Give us your follows, where we can follow you, where we can find the podcast, all that stuff.
Yeah. Hello, Street Smart Mental Health Podcast on Apple, Spotify, my platforms, and his Near Let's Drink Beer, the Natty King public figure page, and Brandon McNamee on Facebook.
Cool. John?
Thank you, Edward.
Yeah, thank you, man. You want to plug your your socials? You want to plug those and
where you are into the camera?
Right there.
That one. At PJ's Coffee O'Fallon. We're on Facebook and we are on Instagram. Aiden, one of our high schoolers, is going to get us on TikTok one of these days.
Are you on TikTok?
Yeah.
So we're not there yet, but yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Please give us a follow. We would love to have you and kind of see what we're up to.
PJ's on Highway K.
That's me. This is my camera here. Of course, I've been Ed with Local 636. You can follow us at Local 636 on Insta, on Facebook. You can join our group. Subscribe to this, like this podcast. We've got a bunch more cool stuff coming. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.